So this is going to be our P2 and P3 quiz review. Now, when the directions say to simplify, that means to simplify completely. That means that we don't have any negative exponents. That means we don't have anything left, any square root or perfect squares or anything left under a radical, all that good stuff. Simplify means to absolutely simplify as much as possible. So when I look at number 1, all right, I see 2 radicals and I'm subtracting. Can I just subtract those 2 numbers? No. I have to break them down, right? Let's break down these 2 radicals and see if I can make them have the same quote-unquote last name, like terms, and then we can simplify a little more. So can I break down 125 into what? 25 and 5? Yes or no? Yeah? Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this as 25 times 5. This is how you guys would show you work. Can I break down 45? To what? 9 times 5. Good. All right, so let's simplify a little more. What is the square root of 25? 5. So that's going to come out, and the 5 stays underneath. Yes? Okay. What about 9? What's the square root of 9?
3.
So that's going to come out. 5 stays underneath. Now what do you guys notice? They're the same. They're like terms. I have the same radical. 5, radical 5, minus 3, radical 5. What's 5 minus 3? 2. So my answer would be 2, square root of 5. And that would be my answer. That's how you guys would show me your work tomorrow. All right? Questions? Let's get on over then to number 2. Same concept. What are we doing here? We're simplifying. We're going to add these 2 together. So let's break down 32. What's a big perfect square and a non-perfect square in 32? 8 and 4. I agree, 8 and 4. But when you break down into 8 and 4, there's still another perfect square inside of 8, right?
16 and 2.
16 and 2. Good. 16 and 2. So 16 times 2. I'm going to show you, if you did use 8 and 4, how it would work as well, but in a second. What can I break 18 into? 9 and 2. Good. I heard 6 and 3, which is true. But if you break it into 6 and 3, would that help us get like terms? So we're always trying to think. It's like a little bit of a puzzle here. You always want the biggest perfect square and not the smallest non-perfect square inside. So the square root of 16 is, so I have 4 radical 2, plus the square root of 9 is, so I have 3 radical 2. What is 4 radical 2 plus 3 radical 2? 7 radical 2. And there's our answer. Now, some of you said, well, I would break 32 into 8 and 4, right? So watch what happens when you do that. You can do this. If you guys saw 8 and 4, that's fine. What is the square root of 4? So I bring this out. I have 2 square root of 8. Can you break 8 down into what? So this would be 2 on the outside and then 4 times 2. So you just have to simplify again. What's the square root of 4? So I take it out and I have to multiply these 2 together. So 2 times 2 is, so I'd be left with 4 root 2, which is what we got right here, right? So it's just an extra step you'd have to do. All right, but that's okay. Like if that's what you guys see, no big deal. Just make sure you keep breaking down until it's as small as it'll go. That's fine though. All right, how's this one a little bit different? Couple things. There's exponents. What else do you see? It's the third root. Good. What else do you see? One has numbers and the other one has numbers and letters, okay? So this index, this is the third root. So I told you guys, when you have letters, the best thing to do is to write them out. And then I have plus. This is the third root of 8x, right? When you have letters, how do I determine what I can pull out? You got to group them. How many x's in that first radical do I have to have in a group before I can pull one group out? 3. I knew that from the index, from that little number out in the front. So I have one group of 3. So I'm going to take that one group of 3 out. I'm going to pull it out. And my little x is left inside. Yes? All right. So I have plus. What is the cube root of 8? What times itself 3 times will give me 8? Good. So I can bring that 2 out, and then that has to stay underneath. Can I combine this anymore? They both have the same last name, right? They both have a common radical. But can I combine the x and the 2?
Yes.
If I was multiplying, could I? Yes. But since I'm adding, can I? Can I add an x and a 2 and say that that's 2x? No. So you would leave it just like this. This is as simplified as it'll go. All right, what do we notice here? What's going on? I don't have radicals. I'm not adding or subtracting. What am I doing?
You distribute that.
I'm going to distribute the what?
The 2.
The 2. To where?
To the -3, the 6, and the 8.
To everything. Very good. We're just raising a quantity to a power. So I'm going to take this exponent of 2, and it's going to go here, here, and here. Now remember, once we're done simplifying, we cannot have negative exponents. So we got to move them around. So I'm going to rewrite this just so I can see it as 8 squared. Then I have x to the, what happens when we raise a power to a power? Multiply. Yes, yes, yes. When the bases are the same and we multiply, we add the exponents. But when it's a power to a power, we multiply. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then b to the -3 times 2 is -6. Okay, if you left it here, you're about halfway done. So you're going to get half of the points. There's 2 things left to do to simplify. What are those 2 things? Tell me.
The -6.
Okay, where does that need to go?
At the bottom.
At the bottom. Good, very good. So b to the 6 is on the bottom, x to the 12 is on the top, and then what else? 8 squared is 64. Remember, guys, it's 8 times 8, not 8 times 2. Common mistake would be where you guys would say, oh, that's 16. Silly mistake. Minimal points off, but it's still going to be points off. So just be careful about that. Okay, the question was just asked, how did you know to just distribute that power rather than say, okay, this is telling me I have 8x to the 6th b to the -3rd times 8x to the 6th b to the -3rd. It's the exact same thing. When you distribute that exponent using our exponent rules, that's just a shortcut to this. But if you were to go ahead and write your parenthesis out twice and then multiply, 8 times 8 is 64, right? X times x, the bases are the same. So what do we do to our exponents? We're going to add them, right? 6 plus 6 is 12. So b, my exponents, I'm sorry, the base is the same. So what do I do to my exponents? Add them, I get to the -6. And then what would I have to do with that b to the -6? I got to put it on the bottom to make it positive. So you could do it that way too. That's the same thing. Exact same thing. Look at this one. Whoa. Holy moly. You're probably going to have something like this, guys. Before you look at this and try to do it all in your head and skip a million steps, what is this saying to do?
Distribute that 4.
Distribute that 4 where?
The top.
To everything. Every single letter and number in there. Now, this is why our exponent rules are so important. Because would you want to write out that whole parenthesis 4 times and then multiply it all together? That would be a huge mess. So that's why our exponent rules are so very important. So I'm going to take this 4 and it's going to the -3, to the 7, to the y, to the z. Then on the bottom it's going to the 2, to the 8, to the 9, and to the -4. A lot going on. If I were you, I would just rewrite everything. Now watch what I do with -3. Why am I putting it in a parenthesis? Because I'm multiplying -3 times itself 4 times, not 3, and then putting a negative out in front. Just remind yourself of that. So now I have x. When I raise a power to a power, what do I do to the exponents?
Multiply.
I multiply. So 7 times 4 is 28. I have y. -2 times 4 is
Negative 8.
-8. I have z to the 5th. So 5 times 4 is z to the 20th. Good. Now on the bottom, I have 2 to the 4th power. I'm just going to write it out. Then I have 8 times 4. What's 8 times 4? 32. Good. Then I have y to the 9th. So 9 times 4 is 36. Then I have z to the -4. -4 times -4? -16. All right, there's still a lot to be simplified. So let's look at this. All right, let's simplify the numbers first. What's -3 to the 4th power?
Negative x or negative 1.
81.
It's positive 81. -3 times -3 is 9. Times -3 gives me -27. Times another -3 gives me positive 81. Right? You guys with me? And then let's simplify, if we can, the bottom. What's 2 to the 4th power? 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. Good. All right, now let's do our letters. Look at x's. Now think about this, guys. You're dividing. Same bases, but you're dividing. So what do you do to the
We
exponents?
just subtract them.
You subtract. Good. Now think about it. You're going to subtract from the top to the bottom. So 28 minus 32. What does that give you?
Negative 4.
-4. If you have -4, right? 28 minus 32 would give me x to the -4. So where is your x to the 4th going to be? On the top or the bottom? Why is it the bottom? Because it's a negative. Guys, look. Where are there more x's? There's 28 on top, and there's 32 on the bottom. So where are there more of them, on the top or the bottom? That should make sense. If you wrote out all 28 on top, and then all 32 on the bottom, and you crossed out, you'd cross out 28, and you'd be left with 4 of them. Where? On the bottom. Yes, sir.
Why would it be x to the 4th instead of x to the -4?
Okay, so you could write it like this. If you wanted to, you could write it like this. X to the -4th. And then what would y be?
Positive 28.
Okay, so it's -8 minus 36 gives me what? -44. So y to the -44. And then it's z to the 20th minus a -16 gives me z what?
To the 4th.
Z to the 36 minus a negative. So if now I was going to write this, where would the x's and the y's be?
The x and the y will go at the bottom.
X and the y are on the bottom. And where is z?
On the top.
Why?
Because it's positive.
Because it's positive. Now, if that is confusing to you guys, you can look at it a different way. Like I just said, 28. You can say there's 28 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, right? And then how many are on the bottom? For x's, there's 32. Okay, so say there's 32. I'm going to write 4 over here. All right, so the 32 are down here. So you cross off these 28 with these 28. How many are you left with? 4. Where are they? On the bottom, right? So think about it. Wherever the number is bigger, that's where the exponent, that's where the variable is going to stay. If you have more on top than you do on the bottom, then they're going to stay on top. If you have more on the bottom than you do on the top, they're going to stay on the bottom. But what's important, guys, is you have to remember the rule. This says you subtract exponents. So in our case for y, it's -8 minus 36, which gives me what?
Negative 44.
That's where our -44 came out. You have to, it's always subtract top from bottom. Very, very important. All right, what are we doing here? Multiply. A house times a house just gives you what? A bigger house. What's 15 times 3? 45. All right. We simplify as much as possible. Can I break 45 down into what? What is it? 9 and 5. And then what does that simplify to?
3 root 5.
3 root 5. Perfect. We're always looking for the biggest perfect square and the smallest non-perfect square that's in there, right? What about 7?
Multiply.
Okay, a house times a house is a?
Bigger house.
So 10 times 30 is?
300.
300, okay. Can I break that down into a perfect square and a non-perfect square? What?
Yes.
What is it? 100 times 3, perfect. 100 times 3. What's the square root of 100?
10.
So I have 10 root 3. Good. So the first half of your quiz is P2. It's our radical stuff, breaking down. It's our exponent rules, our integer rules, all that stuff. Now the second part is going to be where we combine like terms, where we're going to either add, subtract, or multiply. So in number 8, what are they asking me to do here in number 8? Subtract. So before I can just start combining all my like terms, what do I have to do with this negative sign?
Distribute it.
I have to distribute it to everything. Good job. If you guys forget to do that, then your whole question is going to be wrong. So we have 2x squared minus 5x. Then I have minus x squared. What's minus a negative the same as?
Plus 8.
Plus 8x. And then I have minus 3. Agreed? Now we always write our answer in standard form. So I find the highest exponent. So I have a 2x squared and a negative x squared. What's 2 minus 1?
X squared.
Good. So x squared. Then I have a negative 5x and a positive 8x gives me
3x.
plus 3x. And then what am I left with?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. And there is your answer. Now you will have a question. Everybody's quiz version will have a question that says, write the polynomial in standard form and then tell me all the stuff. So let's just practice that. What is the degree of this polynomial? 2. It's the highest exponent. Good. What's the constant? Negative 3. Good. And what's the leading coefficient?
1.
1. Good. Very good. All right, let's look at 9. What are we doing in 9? Adding, subtracting, or multiplying? Subtracting. So again, I have to take that negative sign and I have to distribute it before I can combine anything. So my first parenthesis stays the same. 5x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x. Then I have minus x squared minus 7x minus 2. Agreed? Okay, let's go in standard form. What's the highest exponent you see?
5x cubed.
Okay, so I'm going to have 5x cubed. Then I have a 4x squared and a negative x squared. What's 4 minus 1?
3x squared.
Perfect. 3x squared. Great. And I have a negative 3x and a negative 7x.
Negative 10x.
Awesome. And then what?
Minus 2.
Minus 2. There we go. Good job, guys. What's the degree?
3.
3. What's your constant? Negative 2. What is your leading coefficient? 5. Perfect. Good job. Okay, what am I doing here in 10? Distributing. We're multiplying everything in the inside the parentheses. So I'm going to take my negative 7x squared and I'm going to multiply it to x. So negative 7 times 1 is just negative 7. And then what's x squared times x to the first? X to the third. Great. Then I take negative 7x squared and I multiply it by 3. What do I get? Negative. Why is my pencil not working? Negative 21x what? Hey!
What's up, Jam?
So when we talk about this as our answer, what is my leading coefficient? Negative 7. What is the degree? 3. What's the constant? None. Good, 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 good. All right, here we go. All right, what's going on here?
Distribute.
Okay, we're going to distribute, then perfect. Distribute, then add. So y times y squared gives me y cubed, good. Y times negative 9, negative 9y. And then I have plus 3y squared times 2y. Well, 3 times 2 is 6. Y squared times y is y to the third. Great. And then 3y squared times negative 1 minus 3y squared. Do I leave it like that? No. What do I have to do? Combine like terms, right? I have a y cubed and a positive 6y cubed. 1 plus 6 gives me 7y cubed. Good. Now what? Negative 3y squared. Then what? Minus 9y. Awesome. Leading coefficient? 7. Constant? None. Degree? How many terms are there? So we call it A? Awesome. Good, guys. Good, good, good. All right, now what is this one telling me to do? FOIL, right? If you don't remember first, outer, inner, okay, don't worry about it. Just take that first term and distribute it to everything in that second parenthesis. So 3 times 7 is 21, and x times x is x squared. 3x times negative 4. Well, 3 times negative 4 is, what kind of 12? Negative 12, good. And then I have my x. Now the inside, negative 2 times x, 7x, I'm sorry, negative 14x, right? And negative 2 and negative 4 is positive 8. And then what do we do in the middle here? Combine like terms. So I have 21x squared. What's a negative 12 and a negative 14? Perfect. Negative 26x plus 8. What's the degree? 2. What's the leading coefficient? What's the constant? Awesome. All right, this type problem, actually, you know what? I'm going to add one more after we do this. I just want to add one more problem. But look at this question, guys. This is a multiplication question. This might be a little longer than the other ones, but you still do everything the same way. We're going to take this 2x cubed and we're going to distribute it to everything in that second parenthesis. So 2x cubed times x squared is what? 2x to the 5th. Great. Same bases that we're multiplying, we add exponents. So 2x cubed to negative x is negative 2x to the 4th. Great. 2x cubed times 7 plus 14x to the 3rd. Perfect. Now we do the same thing with negative 5. So negative 5 times x squared, negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times negative x plus 5x. Negative 5 times 7, negative 35. And we look to see if we can combine like terms. In this case, is there anything we can combine? No. Nothing has the same last name. Nothing has the same variable.
It's in order.
It's already in order. We're good to go. I don't know, isn't that pretty? If it was not in order, yes, you do have to put it in order.
If we leave it like that, we get half the credit.
It just depends. It's not always going to be just half. Like, it depends on, you know, if there was just, like, if you just had to reorder it, maybe 2 points, something like that. We'll have a rubric. But what's the degree? 5. What's the constant? Negative 35. What's the leading coefficient? 2. Good. All right, before we do that last one, let's just make up one more problem. What about if I had this? What does this mean?
You do it 3 times.
I got to write it out 3 times, and it's a big multiplication mess, but that's okay. So I write out my parenthesis. This says 5x minus 3 quantity cubed. That means you're going to multiply it together 3 times. Do not start drawing arrows from this point to everything, because you can't do that. My suggestion is to take that first parenthesis, rewrite it, and then deal with the second 2 together. FOIL them. All right, the numbers I chose are going to get a little bigger, but that's fine. What's 5x times 5x? 25x squared. What's 5x times negative 3? Negative 15x. Great. What's negative 3 times 5x? Negative 15x. And what's negative 3 times negative 3? Plus 9. And then I can do what right here in the middle? So I have 25x squared minus 30x plus 9, right? So now I just take that and I multiply that 5x minus 3 into it. Again, the numbers are going to get big. That's okay. Oh, it's just a big multiplication problem. Take that 5x and multiply it to everything in that second parenthesis. So 5x times 25x squared. What's 25 times 5? 125. Good. So I have x to the third. Perfect. All right. 5x times negative 30. What's 5 times negative 30? Negative 150. And then x times x is x. Perfect. And then 5x times 9. 45x. Great. And now we take our second term, which is negative 3. So negative 3 times 25x squared.
Negative 75.
Perfect. Negative 75x squared. Negative 3 times negative 30x.
Positive 90.
Positive 90x. And negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. And the last thing I do is combine like terms. So the highest exponent I have is cubed, right? 125x cubed. Anything else have a x cubed to it? All right, so we just rewrite that. Good. I have a negative 150 and a negative 75. Gives me what?
Negative 220 x squared.
Negative 225, negative 225 x squared. Good. Then I have a 45x and a 90x. Add them. Good. What do I get? How much? 135x. And then what's left over? Minus 27. All right. Does that problem take a little bit longer? Yes. But it's the same process, guys. That's the most I'm going to have you do right now is multiply 3 times. We're going to get to something later called the binomial theorem when you'll have like a parenthesis like that raised to the 7th power. And I'll show you a shortcut to where you don't have to write it out 7 times and multiply. What is the leading coefficient? 125. What's the degree? What is the constant? Negative 27. Good. All right, let's go over the last one. Every single quiz version will have a question that says this. Here is a polynomial. Write it in standard form. Tell me the degree. Tell me the leading coefficient. You guys should be able to do this in your sleep. When I'm writing in standard form, what needs to come first? It's got to be in order. By what? Exponents. Good. So what's the highest exponent you see? 5. So I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to put first negative 6x to the 5th, right? Then what?
Negative 19x cubed.
Negative 19x cubed. Good. Then what?
Plus 7x squared.
Plus 7x squared.
Plus 3x.
Plus 3x.
Minus 1.
Minus 1. Great. Okay? We're in standard form. Good deal. What is the degree of this polynomial? 5. What is the leading coefficient? Perfect, guys. Great. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will prepare you, I should say that word weird, prepare you for your quiz tomorrow. So you should be good to go. I'm going to upload this right now for y'all.